called Yiddish. I understand Yiddish because it's German. You know, and the point is, these Jewish folks were good German citizens, but Hitler for some reason thought, oh, they ruined Germany because of them. No, they built Germany. And I feel real strong about that because I had a little friend in college who had a problem, like I did. We had to take speech correction. And I said, Manny, where are you from? He said, I'm from Germany. I said, well, where did you spend World War II? And he says, my family was sent to the Warsaw Ghetto because we were Jewish. He had the same, he was German as I was. He happened to be Jewish, who cares? And I feel real strong about that because those Jewish folks, a lot of them didn't leave Germany because oh, the Germans won't do this to us because we built Germany, we helped Germany. They're not going to put us away. And now there's people in the Middle East saying, oh, the Holocaust is a bunch of nonsense, it never happened. Don't believe it. I've been to Auschwitz, I've been to Bergen-Belsen, I've been to Treblinka, I've been to Dachau. It happened. And it wasn't just Jewish folks, it was Jehovah's Witnesses, it was gays and lesbians. Anybody who was against the Nazi system was just kind of taken over. That's how they kept control. One time I was in kindergarten, a little Johann, my friend, says, Hitler's a big idiot. And I went home and I told my mother. And my mother said, tell Johnny not to say that. I said, why not? Because they're going to get him. I said, oh, stop it. So anyway, I told Johnny, shut your mouth. My mother says. Johnny says, my dad says Hitler's an idiot. I'm going to say Hitler's an idiot. 3 weeks later, I went to kindergarten, and Johnny was not there. And I said to Tante Erika, my teacher, what happened to Johnny? Oh, his family had to move.
Oh.
Where do you think they moved?
Don't laugh.
To a concentration camp where they were killed. I've never seen Johnny since that day. He wasn't Jewish. He wasn't any problem to the Nazis, but his father spoke against the Nazis, so they got rid of him. That's how they kept control. So we learned real fast as little kids, shut your mouth. So we shut our mouth.
Well, that was the question I had.
Yeah.
Right now we're kind of, when we just got done reading Now is the Time for Running, right? Talk about how Deo kind of went through not always agreeing with what the government does or whatever, right? And then on his kind of interpretation, and I guess one thing that I've always wondered from you, Mr. Etter, is you had friends that probably supported Adolf Hitler, you had friends that didn't support Adolf Hitler. Could you kind of go through, and I guess I don't know how to really ask this question, but kind of explain that whole kind of how put yourself in back, and I don't know if you want to put yourself back in my shoes, but
we knew exactly how to act to who. Every town had a couple of Nazis, and my Tante Elsa was a Nazi Girl Scout leader, Bunddeutscher Mädchen. So she was the Nazi in the family. And my mom and dad were very anti-Nazis. My mom and dad always said, shut your mouth. My mother said, when I went downtown, I knew exactly what to say, Heil Hitler too. Because those were the Nazis that would report her if she didn't do it. But most of their friends were very anti-Nazi. My father was regular army. Regular army was not Nazi. That was his job. And he said, shut your mouth, we'll get rid of this guy. The German army tried to kill Hitler 32 times. I always said, yeah, right, Dad. But see the movie Valkyrie, the guy with the eye patch, who put the suitcase? Yeah. Well, when my father came home from Russia, he went to Africa. My father knew Rommel. Not buddy, but he knew Rommel because Rommel was one of the guys who was killed because he tried to kill Hitler. And after Africa, my father fought up the boot in Italy, and my father was picked up by the Americans in northern Italy when he tried to get home. And the Americans said, where are you going? My dad said, I'm going home. And the Americans said, the Russians are coming, you don't want to go there. And my dad says, where should I go? Well, he says, the American guy said, we need some guys who've been in Russia because we need Germans to tell us how things were in Russia. So my father went to Gedi, look it up, G-E-H-D-I, to northern Italy, a POW camp where they interned 400,000 German prisoners, and he taught Americans how to fight against communism. That's why they came over in 1950 so early, because we were Germans who were anti-Nazi. But to answer your questions, we were told to shut our mouth and not say anything negative. I remember one time there was an air raid, and we had to go downstairs in our air raid shelter, and my grandfather said, I'm not going downstairs. There's a light up here. We had no electricity. He turned the light on and read the paper. In 15 minutes, people were at our door, and they took Grandpa downtown. And he said, you're going downtown. You're an American spy. You're showing the Americans where our town is. Thank God my father was in Italy at the time, my father got him off, because my father was in the army. They were gonna hang Grandpa because we had American relatives. Our little town, and we were guiding the way, so we shut him off. Yeah, it was a terrible time. It really, really was.
Here.
I mean, I heard about this one way that they attempted to kill Hitler that would have been most successful, like this guy chiseled in this cathedral church where Hitler was going to speak. He chiseled out of one of the pillars and put a bomb there, and he set it to the time that Hitler was going to speak. But then Hitler decided to speak later, so it didn't go off when he got killed.
He was awfully lucky. And then he would say, Die Vorsehung, which means fate has ordained me to be the leader of the German, and he used it. Of the people, you can't hurt me because I am your leader. No, 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 no. Good one. Arbeit macht frei. Work will make you free. What they did to the people in the concentration camps is they literally worked them to death. If you were able to work, they worked you and worked you and worked you and fed you very, very little till you became a skeleton and died. Some people who weren't worth working, they went directly to the gas chamber. And I'm talking little kids. Little kids because they were Jewish. How can you do that?
And then one of the other things, you know, in talking with Mr. Etter talking about he knew who to, you know, hail Hitler to and do all those different things. Wouldn't they also do marches with some of the Jews coming through towns or whatever, just to show if you don't follow what we're going to do, this is what's going to happen?
They came through our town, we had to, it was a sad time.
Alright, so here's a couple pictures of just kind of what it looked like.
If ever you get to the Holocaust Museum in Washington State, in Washington,
I went there.
You ever been there? Okay, it's a terrible museum, it's very sad to go through, but my daughter is an 8th grade teacher in Monona Grove. They go every year, and before they go, I give a little spiel about World War II to that 8th grade class. Take it serious, it's dead serious. Those people were actually killed and exterminated. Let's take all the Norwegians, for better, who are Lutheran, and let's take all those people away and get rid of them, even the little ones. How could the Nazis get away with that? But they did. They did. Oh.
Wayne?
Don't they have a movie that kind of, it's called, yeah.
Oh, the boy in the striped pajamas is about a little boy whose father is the commander of the death camp, and he makes friends with one of the Jewish kids. There's other movies like that. Schindler's List is another one. Schindler would hire Jewish people to make bombs and things just to save them from going into the concentration camp and getting killed. A lot of Germans were good Germans, you know, and they weren't all Nazis, but there were a lot of bad ones too.
But there was also a lot, you talked about that idea of, you know, fear, whatever, that a lot of them did a lot of things they had to based off of fear, because if you don't do it, guess what's going to happen to you? Because that's why they march people through and do it. If you don't follow, this is what will happen. And we talk, and I'm going back to Now's the Time for Running. When they went into Deo's original home, right? If they didn't support him, what happened? Right? And so a lot of times people end up doing things based out of fear. So how do you get more people? You instill more fear. You instill more fear, you get more people. And before you know it, people start being brainwashed, and then they start thinking, well, I'm doing this for a good cause, instead of, well, I don't agree with it anymore.
When you talk about how do they know if they're Norwegian or not?
How do you know? How did they know if they were Jewish or not?
Yeah, how do they figure
You
out?
do a family history. I have a book. I should bring it somewhere. I have a book that my father had to fill out as late as 1943 to prove my ancestry was not Jewish. I had a great-great-great-grandfather whose name was David Kum. David, K-U-M-M. My mother's great-great-grandfather. I think he was Jewish. They were trying to get after my family because I think they had some ideas about my dad being against Hitler. And they would have gotten that document, given it to the local authorities, and arrested us. But we shut our mouths. We weren't anti-Nazis openly. Oh, no. We went along with the system. In kindergarten, I said, Guten Morgen, Onkel Adolf, and shut my mouth. That's all I said. Now, do I feel guilty about that? No, I probably was dead if I would have said something. I just shut my mouth.
Weren't also, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't also the idea of, according to Hitler, the perfect German person was a blonde, blue-eyed,
6 foot tall, blonde,
6 foot tall? So
Yeah,
if
eat
you
your
were
heart
then,
out.
He
Look at me.
wasn't 6 foot tall.
I'm 6 foot tall, blonde and blue eyed.
Yeah.
See what nonsense it is?